Hello everyone and welcome to my New York City urban garden. This is going to be the first full garden tour of the 2022 growing season. If you're new here, my name is Mari and I'm gardening in Queens, New York City. This is considered zone 7B. If you came here to last year's garden tours, I only had the front yard and the plot garden at that time, and now we're adding this backyard to the mix. I'm very excited to show you how my garden is doing, and if you choose to subscribe to the channel, you also see all of the challenges that I go through trying to grow some of our food here in New York City. Let's get started. I'm going to start with this beautiful planter that is definitely overdue for a harvest. Growing all kinds of greens and bok choys in there. It's a vertical planter and leaves right by my door here. This is my backyard door, so I come out and I can get all of the greens that I want. Got some peas growing here along the side too. Hopefully they'll catch up to go all the way up to that trailer soon. Here I also have some chives and all these little planters over here. They're all in full bloom right now. There's even some bees that come visit. They're loving the chive flowers this year. This one here has a little bit of more, turned out to be a bit pale, more pale than the other ones there. So the varieties are here. I have all kinds of stuff. So this is butter lettuce. I have some purple bok choy, some merlot lettuce. This was arugula that's bolting. It's getting too hot, so I need to harvest this. This came in a mixed pack from Hudson Valley Seed Company. I'll put the name on the screen of the pack, but I love the way this looks here. I think I'm gonna harvest the leaves and actually try to let this go to seed because it's growing beautifully in there, and I'm gonna collect some of the seeds for next year. Down here is also, I thought it was a tatsoi, but it might be a shijimisai. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly, so I'll put in the screen too, because the leaves are so curled, has these ruffles in here, so I can't wait to eat that too. And below I have some oregano that's coming back from last year, some more arugula in here, also bolting, so I gotta harvest that too. Some more arugula there. Here there's this, so this is on a spinner base, so it moves easily. But here I have some bok choy, more bok choy, lots of purple lady bok choy. The color on this one is gorgeous. I love the way this looks. More merlot lettuce in here. More of the those two are growing together from that same mix. They're growing here. Didn't even notice that guy there. It's growing well, even though it's kind of getting choked by this big one. And turn this planter a little bit more so we can see the rest. This is some radicchio that's growing really nice and big here, but it's quite bitter because it's getting a little warmer. And I planted some nasturtium right next to this other bok choy here because I'm going to harvest this soon, and then these guys are going to have space to grow. When I take all of those bigger plants here, it'll be a little bit easier for the newer plants that I've been putting here. This is red vein sorrel. I have some cilantro doing beautifully, and is really liking this planter. Some pansies that I gotta come in that head because some of the blooms are spent, but they're looking good. Little spinach over here in the top and fennel. There's a huge onion in here. Let's see how that goes. And more chives on the side. And turn a little bit more. Oh, this is beautiful. This one is also gorgeous. I love this. This also came in the Hudson Valley seed pack. It is a really good one. I recommend too if you want to grow a very cool salad mix. So this is also due to a harvest. More arugula here. There's some white celery growing here in the bottom. That pocket's empty. I gotta plant something there. I think I put it a parsley or something, but it's probably from seed. Maybe it just came from seed. Yeah, I just volunteered there, but I'm seed. Oh, maybe I'll let it. There's another one there. So I'll see if it grows, but it's kind of in the bottom shady area here, so I don't know how well it would do. I might have to put a bigger plant in there. And this kale here is quite small, but they're kind of getting shaded from the greenhouse over there. Those got a lot of sun. But here, some lemon balm from last year is coming back as well, so super cool. I am very happy on how this planter is looking this year. Okay, let's continue here with this side. So those are the peas. Those are sugar magnolia tender peas. They're getting slightly shaded by this planter, but they don't seem to be minding. They're looking nice and big. They're growing very nicely. There are some radishes here on the bottom. Those are planted later. I don't see anything forming down yet, but these ones here are also ready to harvest. Look how big this one is. Look at that. In this little pot over here. So amazing. Gotta harvest those soon along with those lettuces. So there is some more little ones coming, and there's also peas in here. Those are different varieties that I can't remember the name exactly right now, but I put on the screen. Never grown this one before, so I'm excited to see how it will do. That one I grew last year and I loved it. It's very vigorous, gets really tall, and has this very pretty purple pods. So here on this side I have some overwintered peppers. They're coming back, waking up. They've been out here for quite a while and I slightly neglected them, so some of them got their leaves a little burnt, but hopefully it'll come back just fine. This guy is looking a little happier, and there's volunteers on these pods from last year, borage and shiso. Here I have this, not the sugar magnolia tender pea, but if you notice, these guys are sunburned. There's some burning here on the leaves. I try my best not to touch the leaves in the water because this can happen, but I just think this is really hot for them. This gets full south-facing sun here, while these other two, they actually kind of get slightly sheltered. This one by the planter, and this one, I guess, gets some side shades from these two planters over here, but they're looking a lot healthier than this guy. So I might have to move this to a different spot. Let's see how it goes. And on these planters up here, they show their chives. What I'm really excited about is this beautiful thyme that's from last year too, and it's coming back so nicely. Look how healthy and beautiful it looks. I planted some peas in here because I had extra seeds from here, and I was thinking they will grow, and once they get heavy enough they'll kind of fall and go down. Let's see how that's gonna go. Little extra myrtle lettuce seedling that I planted here too, taking much longer to grow than those guys, but still looking pretty. And lots more chives here. Then there's some other lettuce, and I planted some radishes in here that looking a bit stressed out. This one is going to seed. And check this out, there's a bunch of squash sprouts in here. I think last year I put a kind of old squash into the soil by the end of the season, and I guess all of the seeds just sprouted. It's just crazy. And here in this little hanger, so cute. All of these pansies are in full bloom right now. This one I've been better about deadheading, so they're looking a lot nicer, and there's a lot more. And I planted an nasturtium here. This is orchid cream variety. Very beautiful flowers I planted last year and I loved it, so I can't wait until you see some flowers here too. Coming down here we have two more of those beautiful vertical planters. These guys are not as full as the ones up there, but they're getting there. Some bok choy here looking nice, but oh yeah, it is bolting. Also bolting, so I'm gonna harvest this and plant something else in here. Some celery, pink celery this time. I love the pink against the pink of the green stalk. Up here, lavender coming back very nicely. Lots of mint. Just harvested a bunch of mint. I put a video up about it, and they all grew back even nicer than it was before. Some sorrel here. The sorrel here is huge, much bigger than the one on the planter up there. That one up there is crowded. And here's a Chinese broccoli that's supposed to sprout very soon, and back there we have Napa cabbage. Below here I have some sage from last year, thyme from last year, all coming back. Some more flowers in there, some more pink celery. This one's looking much nicer, getting quite big. Some carrots in here, just a baby tatsoi. What is this? Yeah, so the baby tatsoi in here. Mustard back there. I have some beautiful pineapple sage with those nice flowers. It smells amazing. This is some parsley planted here. Let's take a look. What else? Oh, another beautiful tatsoi there. Some purple basil. And I'm gonna turn this. This one is on a mover, not on the spinner, so it's a little harder because it's so heavy to move. This is the strawberries. Beautiful nasturtiums. Really liking the new home here. Some more nasturtiums there. This is a little basil that's looking a little sad, but hopefully it'll get a comeback. I have a dwarf tomato that I planted here, little orange hat tomato, just transplanted. Hopefully it will do okay. This is a determinate miniature variety, so it's supposed to do very well on those planters. Calendula about to bloom. Can't wait to see that flower. little bits in there. Here on the ground I have this cauliflower. This is a cheddar cauliflower that overwintered from last year. I was not sure if it was going to survive or not, but it did, and it's looking huge. It's already forming a head. Look at that. Beautiful little yellow cauliflower. Some spinach here that I've been harvesting from, but as you can see now, they're starting to get some leaf miner damage, so I'm gonna go ahead and harvest these even a bit more intensely. And I'd like to, when I see this in here, I'll try to take it out because I don't want it to spread so much, and I like to kind of squish it, make sure that whatever's growing there doesn't get a chance to fully develop. So I'll do that later when I finish. But also on my beets I can see some damage there. Yeah, last year I had a lot of leaf miner damage too. This one here is a different variety. It's a white cauliflower called Amazing Cauliflower. So I planted this from seed this year, so it's taking a little bit longer to form a head than this one. And I have a little bit of Chinese sprouting broccoli all around that's almost ready to harvest, and I'm gonna clear up all that space. This is a Chinese cabbage that unfortunately I just noticed that's bolting too. You see this little? So I thought I was gonna have a chance to get ahead, but I'm not sure if it's gonna work out for this one. It's looking beautiful in this planter. It look like a giant green flower. And here on this other planter we have this huge kale that is bolting. You see how big it is? It was overwintered too. And this, look at this beautiful calabrese sprouting broccoli, doing really good here in the green stalk. I'm also gonna get harvested. There's a lot of side shoots coming up, so once I harvest this, all of those guys are gonna grow bigger. And there's another cabbage there, but you see how there's some damage on the leaves? I think that happens because I rotate this planter for sun, and when I actually do that and that cabbage touches that fence, so that ground in there, the pests kind of climb through it. So I have to be more attentive to that when I'm planting next time. I have this table here and a few seedlings, so it's kind of covering what I have in the back. I'll push it to the side, but here I have a choysum that needs to be harvested. I know it's supposed to eat it when it's bolted, but I think I went a bit too far on it, so this is also gonna get harvested today. This is another Chinese broccoli in here. I have some cherry tomatoes that I planted on those buckets in the back. And I also have some peppers here. That's a puma pepper that's overwintered. It's been overwintered and it's now waking up and looking really good. The foliage is supposed to be this color here. When it was inside it was showing up green, but when it gets exposed to the sun it turns nice and dark and beautiful like that. This was the most beautiful pepper that I had last year. The fruit is really beautiful too. Here there's some more overwintered peppers, and this one's a little biquinho pepper. It's a Brazilian variety that's just shy of waking up, taking a little longer. But these guys are shishitos, and check this out. We already have peppers. I cannot even believe I totally missed this for a little bit until I was kind of looking more attentively this other day. It's like, oh my god, there's a bunch of peppers. I noticed the flowers earlier, but I also noticed that a lot of them fell, and I thought most of them fell, but they didn't. They have provided some fruit, and it's pretty amazing that we can have peppers in May with the overwintered peppers, so we're super happy about that. These two in the front here are newly planted. This is a biquinho, same variety as that one, but this was planted from seed this year, and that's just waking up from last year. And this is a fish pepper, which is supposed to be variegated, and you can see how beautiful those variegated leaves look. I am very excited. It's my first time growing this, and I'm very excited to see how they taste and how the plant's going to turn out. Up here I have lots of seedlings. Even though I have planted most of them, I still have a lot of very nice and beautiful healthy seedlings here, so I'm thinking to do a seedling sale. I have already, and oh, I found my pepper. There you go. If you watch my previous videos here, I didn't know where my habanero peppers were. There they are. They need to go in the plot, but anyway, coming back here, those beautiful seedlings are looking really good. This is a little dry, but most of them are still looking really healthy. So I'm thinking to do a little plant sale so other people can care for them, and obviously it will be mostly to cover the costs of the soil. Oh, these are getting super big. So these are flowers actually, and they came in a cut flower mix. Didn't even notice. Everything's been growing so big in this past 2 weeks that I kind of been missing a few things since there's so much stuff for me to take care of. Oh, those snap triangles look nice. I'm gonna take this one out too. So these are cut flowers, and I want to plant them in the plot garden. I'll show you guys the area once we head over there and after I finish here with the backyard. And there's all kinds of varieties in here. Got some celosia, some zinnias. These are, it's a mystery rose aster, I think. And I don't know. Oh, this is aster, salmon aster. I forgot the full name of this one. I'll put on the screen. I got a June. This was on sale. And this is what I'm very excited for, is a snapdragon. And I've never grown snapdragons. On the seedling table, I have, these are nasturtiums. They're looking really nice. I have started a few other things, a few flowers, a few lettuce that I think that I'm gonna use some of them to replenish some of these guys and some of the things on that planter up there as well. Coming over to this side, we have broccoli that I really need to harvest. I was waiting to do the garden tour first, but this one is starting to separate, so this is definitely gonna get harvested and we're gonna eat for dinner tonight already. Those are peas. There are two varieties of peas here. Here's another pepper that is waking up over winter. This is a bell pepper, a big one. Here I have some of my squashes that I have started the other day. This is lima verbena, so nice. I want to plant that on this beautiful green stalk here. Lima verbena have to be one of my favorite scents in the world. These nasturtiums probably gonna go there too. Have more tomato seedlings. There are tomato seedlings everywhere. Peas coming off this side, going crazy. There's more seedlings here that I think I might share with the seedling sale just because they look so nice and healthy. I really love them to get a good home and feed some people if possible. I have this sugar magnolia tender peas, the same that you guys saw there. Growing in here as well. I love these peas and they have beautiful, beautiful pods and vines, so they're kind of growing everywhere in my garden. Also here, I also have them growing right next to this tree, which is right next to this raspberry, and the compost bin that has, it's really wet right now because I had a lot of rain, and there's some potato sprouts in there, gotta address. Coming to this side, so there's the peas, this is a pear tree I mentioned, it's growing here. There's some, this, I think those are lilies, I'm not sure because this was already here when we moved. It just came out of the ground in the spring. I didn't even know that was going to be there. Same with this peony here, it's about to open. It's a perennial too and just came back up when it got a little warm. So I'm leaving here because it's gorgeous. I'm actually very lucky that that's in there. And back there, there's a sunflower that I started in March, I believe. I'll link the video up there so you guys can see. Down here I have planted some tomatoes in this very overcrowded bed. Apparently I can't help myself because last year I overcrowded everything too. But this is a Costoluto Genovese, was one of my favorite last year variety. Little kale there. That's a ananas noir, a black pineapple variety. I'm hoping that once they get big, they'll have all the space up here. It won't hurt so much for having so many things on the bottom. So let's see how that's gonna work out. And I have this dino kale growing here too. This was in a kale mix seed pack, so I don't know the name of this variety particularly, but it's really doing really good. It's really big. And I have this nice pink celery here. It's finally starting to take off. I also have some pink celery in this grow bag. You can see a little better how nice the color is. This is a Chinese pink celery. And here we have some more tomatoes in buckets, so some roasted cherries. This is a potato that was also on my compost and I put it in here because I felt bad, but I can't do the same with the other two there. I have no more space. So back to the raised beds. There are more tomatoes all over here. This is the tie-dye green. Over there is a striped German. This is Paul Robinson. This one here, it's no, sorry, that one is a Black Beauty. This one is a Paul Robinson, and this is a tie-dye pink. And there's another sunflower back there. That one's planted later, so hopefully we'll pick up a borage in the back. And these are all different peppers that are planted really close together, but I did do this on purpose. I just want to see how they would do planted so close. This is an experiment. So there are two poblanos in the back. This is a Cubanelle pepper. This is a Puma pepper. This is a Buena Mulata. What is this? Malagueta, that's a Brazilian very hot pepper, close to a Thai pepper. This is another Buena Mulata that was overwintered but not looking really good, but I put it here anyway. This is a Biquinho pepper, another one. I love Biquinho pepper, really hope that they produce well this year. Where are you? Oh, this is a habanero, there you go. Got one habanero here and a jalapeno in here. That's some cat damage. And back there's a little marigold and a zinnia. I think I planted a sunflower too. I can't harvest in the back, so I just thought to put flowers there. Now we're going to head to the front yard where I started most of my garden tours last year. We live in a rental here in New York City. This backyard is now attached to the unit that we rent. We are in the back apartment now, but last year we lived in the front apartment which had the little patio front yard in there. And my landlord said that I can still keep taking care of the garden, but there's new tenants and I don't really know them yet so far, so I don't want to be a lot in their way. So I'm just going to show you real quick how it looks like. I have planted some sunflowers in there and some tomatoes. There's also some flowers in the border and a few peas in the back that they are not doing very well. And this whole side over there is still needs to get planted. And hopefully with time I will be able to show you guys with more detail. Now I'm gonna take a walk down the block and show you the other space that we have to garden. We live in Astoria, Queens, and this is a very cool neighborhood. There's a lot of people that garden here too. So we're about 30 minutes away from Manhattan by subway. It's a little bit farther from the city, which is good for me because it's too noisy for me there. So I got to the plot garden now. I'm gonna show you guys how it's looking. This is the space that we have, along with this little back part here and this trellis. This is not a community garden. I got that asked a few times. This actually belongs to one of my neighbors and he's too busy to take care of it. So he asked if I wanted to use it. So last year they planted a little bit of stuff, I planted some things, and we shared the harvest. This year they're traveling for a little bit in the summer, so they're not gonna have time to come here much. So they told me that I can plant whatever I want and use the whole space. But obviously I'm still sharing the harvest with them and their family. So when they come back, I hope to have lots of veggies to share. So this year, I'm doing a lot more flowers. I am dedicating this whole part of here to them. So my vision is that this is kind of like the entrance of the garden. And then we're gonna have all different type of flowers here, mostly cut flowers. And then you walk and enter the garden there. I'm thinking to put an arch right there into the first bed. And this here, last year I tried to plant some stuff, but that is very weedy, it's very hard to manage. So I decided to just plant a cover crop here. You see this? This is clover that I scattered in here. It's growing everywhere. And there's some creeping thyme in here. I hope that it comes back. It's not looking as healthy as it was by last year this time. There's a lot of other things here that I don't know what it is, but I hope that at least by introducing this nice nitrogen fixing cover crop will help taking care of the soil here too, and I'm not gonna bother weeding it so much. I'm okay with leaving this green as is. Right here in this part I did plant some flowers. They're getting choked by the weeds already, so I'm not sure if they're gonna work or not, but we'll see. This cosmos here is the only one that's looking like it's doing good. And here I have some potatoes are doing amazing into those buckets, those 5-gallon buckets. I still need to fill these buckets up with more soil. Moving on to this side, I tried to do a little herb medicine garden. Here I have chamomile, a row of chamomile, a little basil in there because I had extra too. This is a row of 3 of strawberry calendula. I have some resina calendula growing in my green stock. This is supposed to be parsley, I think, but it's not really looking good. This one here, fennel. This is bronze fennel. It's growing hard to see but has a darker color. I absolutely love the color of this and I can't wait to use for cooking too and for garnishing. And those 3 here are feverfew. Back there some cilantro. There's some basil somewhere in here. Right there, not looking very good. And then the peppers. If these don't do well, I might add a few other herbs in here too. We'll see. This up here is a peach tree that is sick. So there is some sort of virus, a fungal disease in it. You can see right here on this leaf that is curling and has this red stuff on it. There's also a bunch of stuff on the trunk. So my neighbor, the owner of this plot, told us that we could cut this down since it's the second year that this is showing. We think it's leaf coral. We don't know, I'm not sure. But last year didn't produce anything and looked kind of sickly, and this year just came back to have the same thing, but it's worse on the leaves. So he just said go ahead and take it down so we can kind of avoid a bigger problem. During these tours I'm going to be calling these spaces beds, garden beds, even though they don't have the nice raised bed edging on them. But I measured those spaces. They are 6 by 4 and they have a couple feet in between them for us to walk. So I call them beds just so it's easier to refer to. But we planted in here last year. The weeds are not so bad this year. You can see how much in the edges they're growing, a lot more than they are in these beds. We mulched good last year. The mulch has greatly decomposed and incorporated to the soil. So I put some compost in here, and I want to do some more mulching, hopefully with some leaves that we have dried, because we don't want to spend a lot of money on it anymore. But this bed here is empty. It's waiting for plant with some of the seedlings that I have at home. This one is half planted with peppers. I put this wire here because I have lots of squirrels and birds. Like squirrels would dig the seedlings out and the birds would snip, you know, the little part. This bed here has cardboard underneath. Those three don't, and some of them have cardboard too. If you want to know the details about how I prepare this, I have a few videos you can watch. I'll make sure to link them. And these three beds here, they're all tomatoes. I just decided to kind of mix them around, so it's not like one row of one specific tomato. They're all mixed. They are going to be all different colors. I think it's going to look very nice. But there are 8 tomatoes per bed, so it's a 6x4. So there's a little bit more than a foot of spacing between them, but it's still kind of close for tomatoes. But I wanted to test it and see if it works. And over there, this was our compost pile last year. I guess the passive compost pile, or passive horticulture waste compost pile, because I just throw stuff in there and kind of decomposes. It did much better. I mean, went over the winter in there, and now it's looking a lot smaller. But we're gonna be making an effort this year to do better at composting. We went to the Queen's Botanical Garden. We gave a little tour of their composting facilities, and they told us a little bit what we could do with this space here. So I'm gonna try to be implementing some of these things this year too. Some more tomatoes in here. They're all newly planted, so not much has changed if you watched those videos before. And for this bed here, I planted some eggplant in there. Have a little space here for something different. I haven't picked yet what I want, but in here I left some of the things that are growing under those hoops, and the ones that didn't get super damaged by the animals and the cold weather that we had. So they're doing okay. They look like they've been recovering, so we'll see how they're gonna do. Next, this calendula has a little tiny bud in there. And then this bed here, it's still also open for, oh no, there's corn. So Danny, oh that's nice, came here, Danny's my partner, and planted some corn. And then now I can see that they are sprouting. We wanted to do a Three Sisters garden in this bed here. So because the main beds are there, we thought that if we planted corn here, something really tall, it will be kind of like a nice framing asset. And also the sun rises over there and then comes all the way here, then we get some shade. So we thought if we planted back here, the big corn wouldn't shade the other stuff that we planted in the back. So let's see how that's gonna work. Now that they have germinated, we're gonna go ahead and plant some beans next to it, and then some squash. So that will be a very traditional Three Sister bed right there, hopefully by our little arch that I want to put in here too. And here is some flowers, lots of weeds. This side here I didn't mulch very good last year, and it's just like went wild, but I have to really come here and weed everything. And there are some flowers that I had started earlier. So there's some zinnias in here, some straw flower. This is a red amaranth, and this snapdragon I actually bought this seedling, and as you guys saw earlier, I also started some, but they were kind of behind. So when I went to the farmer's market, I decided to buy this one because I thought this color was really unique. But this week I gotta find some time to come here and weed this really good, and then hopefully I can also plant some of the flowers. The nights are about 50s right now, so it's safe to plant almost everything in the garden. I don't think we're gonna get any very cold weather anymore after mid-May. And that's it for today. I'm going to be ending the tour here. Thank you so much for staying all the way into the end. If you watched the whole thing, please let me know if you have any questions about anything in the comment section down below. And if you're new, if you want to consider subscribing to see how this garden is going to do through this growing season, I'll be very grateful. Thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you next time.